Would you know it? Prince Louis steals the show again.
And would you know it? Prince Harry needs something from King Charles. Hi, welcome to Heirs and Spares, the show that dives into the fascinating world of two of the most recognized royal couples from both sides of the Atlantic. I'm Kinsey Schofield, and I'll be bringing you updates on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle right here in California.
And in this continual heatwave of a country that they call the United Kingdom, I will bring you all the news and what's been going on around the life of the Prince and Princess of Wales, particularly at the Commonwealth Games.
Oh my gosh, Rupert, so much cuteness from the Commonwealth Games. Prince William and Catherine brought their three children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, to the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Scotland over the weekend. This was the first time, I guess, a major milestone, as it was the first time all three siblings have made an official public appearance together in the country. While north of the border, the Prince and Princess of Wales are officially known by their Scottish titles. Can you tell me what that is?
Duke and Duchess of Rothesay.
Does that mean that the children have different titles over there too, or no? Because they're just the Prince Louis, Princess Charlotte.
I think, the royal family give out titles all the time, but particularly if you're in a line to the throne, just like to be, he's also, in charge of the Duchy of Cornwall. The royal family is in titles, but obviously when they're in Scotland, because of course you have to go back through historically, there's the thrones were united, so that's probably the reason. But the Duke and Duchess of Rothesay is his official title when he's on duty in Scotland, and obviously it's one of the great anomalies of our royal family here.
Yeah, well, I think it's fair to say, while the Prince and Princess of Wales are always so consistent in the glamour that they bring to whatever event they show up to, precious Prince Louis, grinning from ear to ear, kind of cheesing it up in the Welsh cycling bucket hat, was the highlight for me. All of those pictures circulating around the internet. What? That child is just absolutely full of joy. I mean, what a positive reflection on his parents.
Well, I tell you what, when those pictures come out, I said, I know somebody's going to be cooing over those. I just say, that was absolutely manna from heaven for you. I mean, let's be honest. It was, wasn't it? When you saw them come out, I bet you went, ah.
I mean, after I saved them to my phone, I was like, oh my gosh, this is for future use. Like, this is going to be a meme for me when I'm in a good mood, when I'm trying to be sassy with somebody. But so many great shots, to your point, that came out of that game. I shared pictures of Prince George and Prince Louis kind of, talking about the environment around them, and they're both very serious about what they're looking at. Prince William engaging with Princess Charlotte, which was just this, him leaning into her. Those visuals were so sweet. And even Louis talking to his sister. It is such a treat. And you've talked so well about this in the past, about how William and Catherine navigate the access they give us to their children safely and respectably. But it is so sweet to have these moments, that shared with us of their children that are authentic and organic, and give us a sense of who the family is behind the scenes.
Well, and it's very difficult. If you imagine, 13-year-old and Louis and Charlotte, younger siblings, they're in a goldfish bowl. And they would have been, I think they were in Norfolk in the morning and they took a plane to get to Glasgow. And it was important that the Prince and Princess of Wales went, even if they didn't have the children. We knew that they were likely to go on the Saturday to see the various events. But what we weren't expecting was the children. Now, clearly, from a PR perspective, that was the icing on the cake. And it is hard because there they are turning up and all eyes are on them. So for Louis, Charlotte and George, it's quite a tough act. But what was interesting, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh were near at hand as well. So they were very much in a family environment, cocooned in a way, because I think the Edinburghs do have a good mentoring sort of aspect and are around to help because they know that every moment was being photographed in whichever arena they were in.
Also, did you see Prince Louis was taking selfies? I mean, Mr. Movie Star over here. They were also like taking photographs with some of the people around them in their environment. I mean, I'm sure that they were comfortable and safe. And I mean, Louis was cheesing it up, he was grinning in some of the
Yeah,
selfies. But, they did seem to be, to your point, very comfortable and genuinely thrilled to be there, having a good time.
but I think, it's a family day out, obviously with a very different dynamic. And
Hmm.
they're sports fans. There's no
Hmm.
two ways about it. Sport is an integral part of the Wales's life.
Yeah.
From William with his passion for football, um, George, is playing sport. We saw those birthday pictures of him playing cricket. They are a sporty family. So to go to something like the Commonwealth Games is obviously something that they would want to do probably anyway, but it's still hard to navigate through that sort of goldfish bowl mentality for Louis. And look, they've managed it. He hasn't been seen at Wimbledon. He hasn't been seen at big football matches that George has gone to. So it's a different dynamic. But now they feel he's old enough. They had all the sort of family around them. So they could make it easy for him. And obviously, George is getting increasingly used to it. He's still, you can see him, he's fully aware of what's going on. He knows. Do you see you know what I mean?
Mhm.
That he is aware of the camera. He's not completely letting the air out of the balloon because he knows everything is being monitored, but he looked relaxed. And in Charlotte's case as well, the parents obviously are very good at sort of shepherding them around and making sure they are all right because they know that this is the goldfish bowl environment that they live in. It was extremely important that the Waleses turned up because the Commonwealth Games, as an institution, has been coming under threat.
Oh.
As because in the global sporting calendar, it's seen often as being a bit irrelevant. And so to trying to give the Commonwealth Games, for instance, I remember when I was young, when the Commonwealth Games was staged, I remember back in 1970, it would be wall to wall television on our outlets here. But now it couldn't get even onto the main channel, so it was secreted away on satellite. So, in terms of coverage of this country, it was pretty main, it was very much under the radar, given there's still all the fallout from the World Cup and everything that's going on with that. So, from a sporting perspective, it was important that members of the royal family did turn up to the Commonwealth Games, as is quite right. It's absolutely right that the King turned up at the opening ceremony. Okay, he appeared out of the TARDIS. Are you a Doctor Who fan?
Mm, no.
Oh, okay. Well, no, that was a definite no. There was no hint of enthusiasm for you if you're not a Whoite or whatever they call them. A Whoey, I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure they've got a nickname if you love Doctor Who. But
Yeah.
he appeared out of a TARDIS, which is the sort of way, which is like an old police box
Yeah.
in this country, to give it
Yeah.
its context. But I digress. But the Commonwealth Games is an instant, and it was Glasgow had to step in after Australia backed out because of the financial cost of putting it on. So it was a
Mm.
much reduced event anyway. So it was so important that the Waleses turned up, and the Commonwealth Games was given clearly an extra level of publicity with the fact that the children turned up, and that was terrific for the Commonwealth Games because it was splashed everywhere in this country.
Yeah, and over here because of the children, to your point. I mean, yes, we would have received headlines if William and Catherine showed up looking glamorous and beautiful, but Louis, I mean, he takes it up a notch. Your observations of Prince George, I loved those, and they're a great segue into our next story. The Prince of Wales jokes he embarrasses George on family day out at the games. So Catherine revealed that five-time Olympic cycling champion Dame Laura Kenny has been trying to persuade her and Prince William to take a spin around the, am I pronouncing this correctly? Velodrome?
A velodrome, it's an indoor cycling hall, yes. They
Oh,
call
okay.
it a velodrome.
Perfect.
Yep.
And so Catherine laughed, be careful what you wish for because they want to put us on a tandem bike. And when Welsh presenter Gethin Jones asked Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis whether they'd like to see their parents riding a tandem together, George's response was immediate no. Like deadpan, no. William couldn't resist the perfect dad joke, replying, we embarrass you enough as it is. I mean, yes, he seems, I guess maybe it's too harsh of a description, but guarded and highly aware of his circumstances. But also, there's that Windsor wit, that Windsor self deprecating sense of humor that we love. Almost, we're almost seeing that in George. Am I correct?
Well, I think what it is, he's absolutely right. He probably wouldn't want to, as any teenager would want to see their mother and father going around on a tandem, making a fool of themselves. So, I mean, that's just sounds like a perfectly normal family conversation, which is the essence of the Waleses, trying to make sure that their children have as normal as childhood as possible. This will probably be the only time we see them through the summer holidays, which is good because we've had a major fix. But I think it does reflect the normality of the relationship. But I do think it is important that for George, it is a goldfish bowl environment. And the royal family and the Waleses in particular have been very careful and aware of that because they know the older he gets, the more he will be in this endless photographic environment where everything is being analysed and monitored, which is pretty hard. But I think that's why I wasn't saying he didn't look like he was hated being there.
Oh
Not at
no.
all.
He
But
looked
but I
he looked happy, but he looked like he was aware that all
yeah
eyeballs are on you
yeah
and mouth readers are watching what you're saying and will come
yeah
out with the craziest
yeah
thing, you
yeah.
know?
And the lip read people will be out there, which annoys me. I hate reading an article that anyone says, I've got a lip reader who has said. Those articles need to be ripped up and said, you're so desperate that you're getting some lip read expert, which could be complete baloney. So anyone never ask, so I will never, anyone's,
Rupert. I've
yeah,
already got you fired up and we haven't even veered
yeah,
into Sussex
yeah,
territory. I apologize.
yeah.
We
Well, I
need
don't know
to.
where. We need to back off. I don't know where the lip reader anger came from, but it is one article type of article when discussing anybody that annoys the heck out of me. But anyway, what I think was the important thing is that the Waleses were there. They looked like they were having a good family day out. Yes, they were in the VIP bit, and there was people like Chris Hoy, one of our most famous sportsmen, who's been battling cancer in his own right. So there's and Dame Laura Kenny has been one of our greatest Olympic cyclists. Hence the reason why she's Dame Laura. So it is they were in a very good environment. And I do think it is important that the Edinburghs were there. The Duke of Edinburgh actually closed the Commonwealth Games yesterday. There was a strong royal presence, but the family nature of the Waleses was, to me, the most important part and the normality of what they tried to create. It was a Sunday day out or a Saturday day out at the Commonwealth Games for the family, admittedly, with everybody watching them.
You're right. It was just so great to see them all as a family, to see the kids. And it, if I don't see them for a while, that's fine. We've had Trooping the Color. We've had a lot of Prince George lately, the RAF engagement he did with the Princess of Wales recently. I imagine they might give us, and correct me if I'm wrong, because this is a prediction that you might disagree with, but I'm wondering if they might give us another portrait of George prior to Eton to say, all right, now back off and let him
Uh,
enjoy his school year.
well, quite often what happens in these circumstances is, and you've seen it with all heirs to the thrones, they tend to photograph the first day of that child because it's an historic document in a sense, is the education of the future king.
Mhm.
So there will be a moment, probably, I would imagine, unless the Waleses say something different, we're not going to do this, of him coming to the school, meeting the headmaster or his housemaster. Because the way these schools, the headmaster is the obviously what that says, but he will be assigned a house which will have a housemaster. And so one of those, I imagine we'll see that photograph in September. as a historical document, and then it will be told, right, that's it, he's at Eton, no more photographs,
Leave him alone.
unless leave him alone, and it will be expected of all parents and everything to do be exactly the same amongst his peers. Look, it's going to be quite hard because he could be seen just walking around the Eton High Street. So it's not so straightforward. But in terms of the next proper, sort of more formal setting, I think it will be his first day at Eton in September.
Are you ready to go? Are you ready to go
Well, okay, let me
where
just.
we have to go next, or do you
Well,
need a
well,
moment?
I don't. I just wondered if there's anything else I've got to talk about the Waleses before you unleash monstrosity upon me. Or no, I think we probably go because I think we. I always like to begin with good, wholesome entertainment to begin with, sort of reflecting on what was a good news story. Commonwealth Games hopefully were a success, and that the event will sort of group and be able to get back to what it used to be. I think the next one is in India. You never know. The Prince of Wales might have a more significant part to play because that's 4 years down the line, what that might be. But I'm glad he was there. That's been the big sort of royal story from the main royal family. They put in a good shift at the event this week. So now, come
I
on.
would reword that. The real royal family, Rupert.
Anyway,
The
well now
real.
kick. Right, okay. Let's breathe, Rupert. Let's go. Right, I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever you're going to send at me.
All right. Well, you talked about how important the Commonwealth Games were, and you talked about how important the presence of King Charles was at the Commonwealth Games. And here's a story that's not new to my channel because Tom Bauer told us this months ago. Prince Harry wants desperately his father to stand alongside him at the next summer's Invictus Games. I believe actually Bauer said Harry would like everybody there. Oh, good luck, my brother.
Ugh.
But the Daily Mail reporting that Prince Harry is believed to want his father to stand alongside him at next summer's Invictus Games. The organizers are likely to either invite the king to the opening or closing ceremony, as well as some of the sporting spectacles where he will get the chance to meet competitors. One source said next year is a big deal for Harry. He is determined that the Birmingham Games will be the best ever. It would mean the world to him to have his father there. We've discussed so much how there are similarities happening recently between Invictus and Senebale, how they are struggling to they're struggling to fundraise and find people willing to donate because of some of the antics that Harry and Meghan have participated in the last 6 years. But is this fair? Or is this, I shouldn't say, is this fair? I should ask you if this is a difficult scenario, Rupert, for King Charles, because he is head of the British Armed Forces. He serves as the constitutional head of the Army, the Royal Navy, including the Royal Marines, and Royal Air Force. Members of the armed forces swear an oath of allegiance to the king, not the government. So, will he be judged unfairly if he doesn't go to the Invictus Games because of that role?
I think it would be hugely disappointing for the competitors if the king did not turn up. And that's got to be taken as the forefront and the most important part of the Invictus Games, because it's about the service personnel who've been through various difficulties from nations all around the world, who fought adversity and have found a way to get their life back on track as best they can to end up representing their nation in a series of events at the Invictus Games. That has to be taken at the heart of this. You actually got to move the soap opera and kick that into touch to some extent. But inevitably, it will be the story. And this is the sad thing for the Invictus Games, because the king, under normal circumstances, just like he turned up to the opening of the Commonwealth Games, would probably want to be at the opening of the Invictus Games, whatever's going on, whatever we think about Harry and his antics and Meghan's antics, that is the sad fallout in that we will end up having a willy won't he. What's the body language between the two? We'll have the
The
aforementioned
lip
Richard Lee.
readers.
The aforementioned wretched lip readers out there trying, and body language experts all out there trying to analyze everything. But actually, so in a way, if that is going to be the case, then some ground rules need to be established. And if I was doing it, I would say to the king, right, I'll turn up, but it's you and you alone, right?
Mm, mm.
I'd almost say that. I'll leave my wife away home as well,
That's
right?
fair. Yeah, no Meghan
So you
Markle.
say,
Could be the
you know,
terms.
Megan, and
No
say,
Meghan
right, we'll
Markle.
keep, so that the spotlight is on what we need it to be, which is the service people taking part. That has to be the overriding message that comes out, and the king would want to be there.
And it could
I'm
almost be
abs-
a brief exchange where Harry introduces his father, hands him the microphone, walks off the stage after a hug or a pat on the back. It could be a really brief moment.
Something can happen that would enable the king to formally open the Invictus Games. The point is, this is people have lost the fact. When the Invictus Games started, it wasn't just Harry's
No,
baby.
Prince William is sitting right next to him at the
So,
announcement for the Invictus Games.
so it was a joint venture. So this is where we've suddenly got it in that it is just Harry's gig. Well, it became Harry's gigs because the rest of the family didn't want to get involved. And if we saw the last one, and I know, having spoken to people, it turned into the Meghan show. Where
But that's why the
making
family
sure,
doesn't want to be involved.
yeah, and that's the problem because so therefore it distracts from what is really significant, and some of the effort many of these personnel, the service personnel, go to get there. And we don't want it to be, well, look, it's all about the family. But that's not the point of the Invictus Games. And we've got to remember what it's about. And as an ex service person, I absolutely applaud the initiative that was set up when it was, with, I think, the King's blessing as well to William and Harry, but it seems to have gone the Harry route. And it has been, to some extent, tarnished by Meghan's behaviour around it, and Harry sort of having to try and say, well, I'll have to have my wife around. I want her. Because at the last one, I think she turned up for 3 or 4 days. And the word I heard on the street, as soon as he left, he was a very happy man and he was running around being able to do what he loves because he does love being around servicemen and women because he knows that was a time of his life. Okay, he let the side down with what he wrote about in the book and all that stuff. But at the heart of it, being in the services was an important time for him, and hence the reason why he does, at heart, have a good intention about Invictus Games. But all we've been talking about is the soap opera element, even about this 1 hour meeting. That's been dissected to who said what and who arranged what. I mean, it sounds like it's got more. There used to be back in the day the Cold War about the between and spies meeting here, there, and everywhere under the cover of darkness. Well, this feels like it was an element of a John le Carre novel. Someone being secreted in over the Highgrove walls to get in there. I mean, I'm going over the top here, but you
Well, let
get
me
my
just say
drift.
that's the second time you've used the word secreted today. So, like, this is a
What
this is
was the what's wrong with secreted? By some of the standards of the words you've been using on this program, you've left me blushing unceremoniously. Secreted seems to me to be a rather tame word.
okay. All
Anyway,
right. No, I
well,
mean
well,
it is tame.
anyway,
It is tame, but
what I was
wait.
what
Oh, can I
I tell
just
you what
tell
you're
you?
saying.
Well, can I
Yep.
just tell you though, our audience they love you, as you know,
Mm.
but they will be upset by this suggestion because they feel like Harry continues to insult the monarchy and the king. When you think back to the back and forth about Buckingham Palace, when you think back to the statement he made after losing the Daily Mail case and insulting the court, and the king, you are right in your heart in saying that the king should do it for the servicemen. But in standing alongside Harry at the Invictus Games, it would be in a sense an endorsement of Harry. And Harry has been so destructive over the last 6 years. So could part of the arrangement be, yeah, I'll go to the Invictus Games if you release a public apology to the monarchy, to the family.
If you, I think I'm going to say, sorry, dear audience, but I'm going to have to. The reality of the situation is this is a really difficult one. I get where people are coming from because of what Harry's done to the royal family. But actually, the duty, what the king has is a duty above family. That was the, what, yes, family is very important, but you look at the late Queen, what came first? Service to her country, to the armed forces. That was what drove her. Yes, you look at the way she brought up her children. She disappeared for 9 months because she was expected to go on a tour and left Charles and Anne floundering at home. Didn't see her child, and they were relatively young. So, okay, the world has moved on, and the Waleses would never allow that to happen, or even I'm sure King Charles wouldn't allow it to happen. But it is a really difficult one when you've got the choice between your duty as the King of the United Kingdom and your role as head of the armed forces to an event that is celebrating the perseverance and the resilience of armed forces alongside a man who's done his level best to tarnish the reputation of members of his own family because of his own selfishness and stupidity. I get it, but I'm trying to basically offer a reasoned bigger picture. So
Mm.
if I hope I'm not offending, I'm sure I'm upsetting some people who say, well, no, but you have to look at this, what the monarchy is about here. And I'm just trying to offer a reasoned argument as to why the king should go. But yes, I do believe there needs to be some very serious ground rules as to how any appearance with Harry is managed, and that needs to be resolved over the next 12 months.
And what about Dickie Arbiter's suggestion that the king provide video or even a live feed that's brought into the stadium to start the games or to end the games? Is that is that just not intimate
To
enough?
me, not intimate enough. He's the king. He needs to be there. That's what they wanted. That's why people were delighted he turned up at the opening of the Commonwealth Games, of which he is head of the Commonwealth. I think we've got to remember, yes, of course he could do a video thing, and we saw that with as the Queen towards the end of her life. Yes, that was the way she had to operate. But the King, remarkably, is still determined to get himself out there, and I think he'd want to be there. So yes, that's all very nice to say do a video, and Dickie certainly, he's got his finger on the pulse in many ways, and yes, that is an option. But I think I think you've got to think of the competitors. That's what the games is all about. And to me, they would feel, they come to this country where they're staging them. It would seem odd to me if the king's not there. Harry's just an organizer. He's just
He's a
someone
mascot.
who's,
He's not an
yeah,
organizer
yeah,
because he doesn't
yeah,
know where do the porter potties go? Where do we get
yeah.
our lanyards printed? He's oblivious to any of
Well,
the
he wouldn't. Yeah, and
yeah,
can I know where
yeah.
it's been taking place? It's the NEC, great big sort of exhibition centre, and I don't know where some of the other what other venues they're using, but the NEC is an enormous area with halls all over the place that is more than capable of staging numerous events around it. It's a pretty soulless industrial park, I hasten to add, although I work there every year at the Horse of the Year show.
Yeah.
Just so, I mean, I know it well, but I do think for Birmingham and the Invictus Games, I think we have to find a way to get the king there. And Harry has got to listen to people and suddenly find somewhere that the show like in there actually, for once, listens and takes on board that if you want your dad there, your dad would want, I can imagine the comment. Dad wants to be there, but it's got to
Mm.
be done like this.
And
And
well, what you're saying is no Meghan Markle, which I totally agree with. I'm wondering if some of the chit chat we've seen building over the last few months regarding Birmingham, safety in Birmingham, Harry's security. We just saw the article about Harry being pushed back in the queue because there's 9 prime ministers that Ravick have to protect. And so any sort of reimagining Harry's security is not a priority right now. Could they to save Meghan from the humiliation of the king not wanting to be seen with her, say Meghan ultimately didn't come because of her, they were concerned for her safety at Birmingham, because one of the keys that Harry I believe one of the keys that Harry leaked to ITV, or one of the main concerns that Harry and his team leaked to ITV after they found out that Harry wasn't going to get the security he wanted the last go round, was that there were concerns around his and Meghan's safety at Invictus events. So could they go? Meghan's not going to be safe
Well,
enough just to save face.
hang on. Let's just get the security right. Any big event in this country has huge security. I
Mm-hmm.
know. I mean, I've just been to the Open Championship. Every person is searched on the way through. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
was going through and had through airport style security. Go to the Grand National, it's the same. There is security, and there would be enhanced security because there is an element, and given the slightly troubled times we live in, something like the Invictus Games could be seen as a possible target. So
Mm-hmm.
I am sure there would be enough security anyway. Forget Harry needing his bells and whistles version of it. There would be and will be enough at Invictus Games because in the planning, they will be doing all the necessary security. There will be a department whose job is to make sure that we have the security of the athletes taken care of, security of spectators. This will not be just something that will be thrown together and by chance and say, we'll turn up and anyone can, that's just not going to happen. There will be enough security. Here we go. I'm just starting to feel the temperature rising, like the heat wave over here. Is that his security thing is just such a load of that I can't use the word. It's a complete distraction.
Secretion.
Right? Right? No. It's not secretion. No, it's a load of. I've said it. Anyway. I hope they keep. Will they keep that word in? I don't know.
Well,
But anyway,
we
it is.
love
It
it. We
is.
love it.
It is basically ridiculous. So he will come here. The Invictus Games will have the necessary security just by the nature of the event, because it's the last thing they want anything to happen. Just as at the Commonwealth Games, there would have been security for the athletes, because we know historically big sporting events can be subject to something, some terrorist attack, you
Yeah.
name it.
Yeah.
So you name it. So Glasgow would have had all the necessary security. You've got the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh there. Princess Anne was up there. They were all there. But it was all part, presumably, of the usual security arrangements. Yet, obviously, when the Prince and Princess of Wales come into town, they will have their own security detail.
Yeah.
So Harry needs to get a life about this security thing, because when he comes here, he will be afforded some. And you're right. Since we basically changed, we've had more prime ministers than I've had hot dinners this year. You've actually just know that it is a burden. And we had one prime minister who lasted about 40 days, and God knows what that's costing in security. Yet she
Mm-hmm.
was, but that is the rules. We look after, we protect. Just as in your country, your ex-presidents are afforded full security, if I'm not mistaken, and quite rightly so, because they are always going to be someone who might be considered a target. It's just an indictment, sadly, of the modern world. But for Harry, he uses security as an easy stick to bear, and he needs to grow some, get a life, and realize that no one's going to allow anything to happen, but he's just not going to be able to have 20 cars firing him around the country to make himself looking more important than he actually isn't.
Well, do you need a second to cool down?
Well, I thought I was quite reasoned in the end.
You were, absolutely. I haven't seen
Uh,
any steam come out of your ears. And
well,
so,
it's been an interesting week for me, and so anyway, but I'm back on track, and I just thought, since we last recorded, it's been an interesting week, and
yeah.
I just needed to be a calm, because if I go over the top, I may have another interesting week.
All right. Well, this one probably won't or annoy you as much as the previous story. But while promoting Cookie Queens, the Girl Scout documentary that Harry and Meghan slapped an executive producer title on, This was earlier last week. Meghan Markle surprised a Girl Scout camp in Ojai, California. The mother of two took photos and selfies with the campers as well as with the documentary's crew and staff. Someone in this article said that Markle looked effortlessly stylish in a casual outfit, a brown knit top paired with white shorts and dark loafers. I thought she looked ridiculous, but I've never accused Meghan Markle of being a style icon. When your public image, Rupert, has been dogged by accusations of bullying, and this is just my opinion, watching her promoting Cookie Queens over the last 2 weeks, because she also did that event at the Groves movie theater where she talked about Harry's advice to her about zooming out, being above the clouds because he was a pilot. But I think after you have been branded a bully, associating yourself with a documentary about 5 to 12-year-old Girl Scouts is a desperate strategic rebrand. I mean, the timing certainly invites questions about whether this is less about the girls and more about repairing Meghan Markle's own reputation. It's hard not to see this as an image rehabilitation campaign, just Meghan attaching herself to a heartwarming documentary about young Girl Scouts selling cookies. In my opinion, feels like an obvious attempt to reintroduce Meghan as the warm, relatable girl next door. Or am I just being too harsh? I mean, it's not like we've heard such great things about this documentary, like, or it's headline grabbing, like remember the Super Size Me documentary? It's not like it's making waves. The fact that she's pushing it so hard feels more like she's pushing herself, not the product.
This is the one that she launched at the Sundance Festival, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Well, it was underwhelming, wasn't it?
Right.
I remember when on Saturday, when the pictures of the Waleses came out, I said, just let's see how long it takes to get a response, okay, from the Sussex camp. Were these released before or after those pictures?
I believe before, but let me check Meghan's Instagram and see if
Yeah,
there are any new
yeah,
images of the back of anyone's heads.
yeah. Right. So here is my take on it. She is
Oh,
desperately trying to be given a
oh wait,
soft.
new message from Meghan. She's walking through
Okay,
her garden
is this today?
23 hours
Well,
ago. Nobody
20
cares.
right.
Yeah,
Walking through a garden.
yeah.
Well, I can walk through my garden's like it's like a desert at the moment. If you see a picture of my garden, I mean, we haven't had rain. I mean, everywhere here, it's completely parched. So it's unbelievable. So if she's got rows of gardeners looking after her garden, I can't say that I've been making it my top priority to look at her Instagram account and see her gambling through her garden with sort of gay abandon. What a load of again. I've used it twice now just to give the editor something to think about. So I just would say, because this was a underwhelmingly received documentary in the first place. And yes, it's all cutesy, sweetsy, but you know that look at me, I'm looking after the girl guides. And this is after, let's clear the fallout from the MasterChef appearance, where 1 minute she's saying about what she likes as food, and then you compare what it was with her mother and her father. I mean, there was so many um,
Contradictions.
yeah, yes, exactly. As to the way her culinary inspiration took place in that program, what she said,
As a
that
child,
I
she
think,
she grew up farm to fork, and it's like, did you grow up farm to fork, or were you forced to eat at the $4.99
yeah,
Sizzler salad bar like you told our government you were when you were trying to manipulate and influence some of our representatives, Meghan? Like, we have
yeah.
receipts.
Yeah, exactly. So the story, I'm pretty sure that our father, it was an element, right? This is what's on the table. We're going out, getting takeaway, whatever. That is the way he was working his butt off, doing two jobs, I believe, at some stages, as well as being a very, successful
Lighting
man in
director.
lighting director in Hollywood in his own right.
Mhm.
So, but I don't know what sort of salary in compare. I imagine it's not a life-changing amount, but he's a hard-working man, and he deserved
He put
respect.
her
Which
through multiple private
uh,
schools.
well, that means he bust a gut,
Hmm.
and but which has been completely ignored by his daughter, who has been so disrespectful. It is well, it leaves everyone, part of the reason why people don't trust her. So now suddenly she looks like she's playing Happy Families in the Girl Guides, and that she's now a great influence and understands what it was like to be a cookie girl. I mean, it's not something we have over here, and I don't really understand it. Um, and I was a scout for about a week. So I did dib dob dib or whatever it is for about a week and tied a knot and then gungangoolied it out of there. So
I was a Girl Scout. I was, and I
yeah.
still eat Girl Scout cookies religiously. Can I ask
Did
you
you
the,
sing?
the
Did you sing Ginganguli or something? It was another song that the Scouts used to sing here. It's all a bit weird, but I don't
Can
know
I
whether
can
the
I ask
Scouts.
you a question though? Because the line about her taking selfies with some of the
Mm.
kids and some of the cast and crew, am I making it up that there was a bit of a hubbub around one of her Wimbledon visits because she wanted to be in a private area where
Oh,
she wouldn't be out, she didn't want to be photographed or something like that? Am I
uh,
making that up or did that
no,
happen?
you're not making it up at all. And I've had it on pretty good authority when she turned up there. That it was an absolute nightmare for the press team to coordinate because she felt that I think she went onto one of the outside courts where I think Serena Williams may have been playing or something like that. And she didn't want anyone where they have is a sort of players area where people can go and VIP area where people can go and sit. But it's within one row below general public. And I
Mm.
don't think she wanted anyone below her or sort of around her. So that she could be seen in all her glory. That was what I think was the dynamic of that Wimbledon visit. However many years ago, well, it was before COVID, obviously.
And then, but
Um,
she like the excuses she made was that she didn't want people trying to take pictures of her or with her. And
I mean, that is so stupid because everyone is taking photographs at Wimbledon. To even think like that is naive in the extreme. You think when Princess of Wales turned up at Wimbledon, people weren't taking photographs as she walked into the royal box? Absolute again. So
but
the
but
word.
it, but it's like interesting how now she's willing to take selfies with everybody, especially little
Oh,
kids, because she's going for that Diana Catherine aura that
oh,
we
oh.
all, you know, kind of
It's
melt over.
too late. Too
Too
late.
late. That's right.
And that's, don't try and suddenly pretend that you're the great caring, when you spend most of the time trying to just make sure that you're the only person photographed. Now she's just desperately to be photographed. Let's be honest. This event, we were only knowing about it because she's put it up there, and obviously our job is to reflect what's going on in the Sussexes. Again, it just smacks of desperation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, we've got to be careful that they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. But with this documentary not having moved the dial much, I'm not sure what she hopes to gain by it.
Yes, you
I
do. She's trying to use these children and this concept of small young girls to improve her own image. That's what I mean, do you
yeah.
not agree with that? That
Well,
she thinks that this makes her look like a sweet girl and that's why she's doing it?
but she's not.
Yeah, call your dad, Megan. He just lost a,
Yeah, I
a
know. I mean,
limb.
sorry, be a good daughter, and that's where, and these, I have not what the Girl Guides do, and all those organisations have absolutely right. But whether Meghan should be hijacking it, will it make any more people watch the program? I don't know. Has it struggled for release? Has it found a TV home to show it? I don't know. It won't probably be
Netflix
shown.
isn't banging down the door to stream it,
Yeah.
and like that's a relationship she's already established.
I think she only went to the Sundance to sort of lend her name to it. I don't think she was involved in any of the production of this.
No,
So it was
they
there.
jump in at the end, throw some
Hmm.
money at it so they can get the
Yeah.
executive producer. But I think that there are 11 different producers on this
Yeah.
movie, at least.
Yeah, and so her job was to turn up and promote it because they were look what I'm promoting, what young children are doing in America.
Yeah.
which fine. It's if it's a good cause. I don't really understand what
The
what it's
movie is
about.
actually about how vicious and conniving some of these parents are to so their
Mm,
children hit their sales numbers. So it's
mm.
not really like people keep describing it as heartwarming, and I kind of did in my description to be facetious, but um, it's actually about how it's become the competition is so unreal. It's almost adults competing with each other so that their children hit their
Oh,
goals.
oh, it's
But
pushy parents. What you're saying?
pushy parent, oh, for sure. And so I've
Oh,
always felt like,
then it's got no merit. If
yes,
it's parents being pushy to say, "Oh, look, my little Arabella," to make up a name. I know it's a very British name, so I don't know. My little Kinsey, look what she's my little Kinsey, look what she's earned. She's better than yours. She worked harder for the $20 or whatever she earned.
when
You
in
know, I'm
reality,
sorry.
the mom went into her
Yeah,
corporation and said, buy my kids Girl Scout cookies.
yeah,
She needs to hit a goal. Yes. Yeah.
yeah. So
Or these
that's what it.
parents are writing like huge checks to get to
Well,
have 100 boxes of cookies in their house.
and well, then then it loses some of its innocence by
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Well, I've
I'm
never
sure back,
associated Meghan Markle with the word innocent, if we're being
but
honest.
yeah, well, no, that's true. But then, in many ways, back in the day, I imagine it was an innocent
Mhm.
thing to do.
Yes.
It's a bit like when you go around trick or treating and all those things have sort of a nice sort of cozy family element to American life.
Culture. Yeah.
Okay, probably in a sort of idealistic kind of way, but that's what it was. But then it seems now it becomes a way to prove that my little darling is better than your little darling, and I'm going to make sure you see it, which is unedifying. And, then Megan's, she's probably a prime example of exactly what some of the film's about in many ways,
I agree.
you
A
know.
pushy
But that,
mom. Yeah. Poor Lilibet's got a
yeah.
stage mom on her hands.
Well, yes, and I'm waiting for some more back shots this week, given what we've seen from the Commonwealth Games, of more holiday snaps of them somewhere, whether it be in Scotland, Portugal, or you name it. So I'm sure something will come out, apart from just her gambling through her garden in Montecito.
Hmm. Well, agree with us, disagree with us. Let us know in the comments below. Rupert's got to go ice his forehead after all of this Meghan Markle talk. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And Rupert, you'll be back next week with more Meghan Markle.
Well, if well, hopefully we'll be back fighting fit. Next week, then next week I'm off to a thing called the Edinburgh Festival, which is a
Oh,
great entertainment.
yeah.
But on Monday I'll be here, and then on the Tuesday I've got 5 days watching all sorts of things up in Edinburgh, a city I absolutely adore. But this week, taking it easy. I'm ready then to have a week watching all kinds of show in Edinburgh. But my last job before I go for that week in Edinburgh will be talking to you, Kinsey. Nothing would stop me talking to you,
Oh my
Kinsey.
gosh, I
Oh,
love it. We're
oh
so
dear.
we're so lucky to have you, Rupert, and we love
Well,
you.
how creepy did that sound? I do apologize.
No, I needed to hear it. Maybe I had a bad day, and maybe you've made my day better. All right. Well, make sure again that you subscribe to the channel. Rupert, thanks so much for your time today, and I look forward to seeing you again next week with all the highlights.
Thank you, Kinsey.
Bye, guys.